Stay tuned for the following special presentation from KOFO 1220 and 103.7 FM. KOFO, your sports source for East Central Kansas, welcomes you to the Pizza Time Hoop Talk Show on 103.7 FM, 1220, and online at KOFO.com. We invite you to join us live at Pizza Time in downtown Ottawa for food and drink specials during the show as we talk OU Braves and Lady Braves basketball with head coaches Aaron Siebenthal and Bruce Tate. Pizza Time Hoop Talk is brought to you by Ottawa Family Physicians, Lamb Roberts Funeral Home, Pizza Time, and Ottawa University. Now, with this edition of Pizza Time Hoop Talk, here's KOFO's David Potter.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hoop Talk on KOFO. I'm David Potter here at Pizza Time in downtown Ottawa, and I encourage everyone to come on down and join us to talk some basketball and eat some of the best pizza you can get around. Just a quick programming note, Coach Bruce Tate had an event with the women's team tonight. He's going to see if he can be here for the second half of the show. If not, we'll just focus on the men's team tonight. We should be able to catch up with him next week. But for right now, I'm here with Coach Aaron Siebenthal and his 11th year coach in the men's team and his second year as head coach, of course. And thanks so much for joining us here tonight.
Yeah, David, thanks a lot for having us.
Yeah, not a problem. So I know college coaches don't really get any breaks, but were you at least able to get some time to spend with the family over the holidays?
Yeah, we got right around a week off, and it was good for me to spend some time with family, and it was good for our guys to get home, and those that could get home and see their families and spend time with them. And I think it was the perfect amount of time, not too much time off, but definitely glad to have these guys back on campus and get after it again once we get back into the conference play.
With them going home for that week, and then you had a couple of exhibition games. You had the tournament in Sioux City, which we'll get to in a minute here. But are you able to get any additional practice time with them during that break, or is it pretty well filled up?
Well, it kind of just depends on the year and how much time we have. This year with just a week off, we came back on the 26th. We practiced for the night of the 26th. We went twice on the 27th. Once on the 28th, then we headed up to Iowa on the 28th. So we didn't get a ton of practice time by the time we came back, but I think it was good for us just to get back to playing games again.
Right. So do you feel like the team's ready to get back to that we've got a couple of Wednesday games, but for the most part, that Thursday, Saturday?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, definitely, I think so. I mean, we've done that for 4 weeks already, and I think the guys are used to that routine, and we have our routine down. So I think they're ready to get back in the mix and play games that matter the most to us. And obviously, there's not a bigger game than one tomorrow. So,
right. So just to kind of brush up on what went on since our last broadcast, which was the game down in Wichita. You guys knocked off an NCAA D2 opponent in Oklahoma Panhandle State. Then you had the close loss against Rockhurst. Those were both exhibition games. And then last week you went up to Sioux City. You played two tough teams, both, I believe, receiving votes in the top 25 in Briarcliff and Morningside, and had to play them on their own turf. They're both from Sioux City up there. You fell down early to Briarcliff, then were almost able to come all the way back, and then Morningside was kind of the opposite. You got the early lead and didn't end up getting the W in the end. But even though you didn't get the wins, you battled with two very good teams, hung right in a tournament on their own turf. So how do you feel about things, the way things went during the break?
Yeah, I think we feel pretty good about it. I think the two exhibition games against the Division IIs, we played all 16 guys in both of those games, and we do that pretty much consistently with all our exhibitions. It's a chance for everybody to get another opportunity to play kind of in the middle of the season. So Panhandle was obviously a good win to beat a Division II team, go on the road, and so that was a really good trip for us. When we played Rockhurst, we played all 16 guys again, and they kind of played even minutes. We just subbed 5 in and 5 out. We actually started our guys that had the top 5 highest individual semester GPAs. So it was a chance not only to reward our guys that do things right on the court, but also in the classroom. And then going up to Sioux City, I scheduled those games on purpose. We knew those are two teams that are perennial top 25 in our division and are generally at the national tournament. And I wanted our guys to have a litmus test and see where we were kind of in the middle of the season. And like you said, we were in both games kind of different ways, fought back in the first game and got a big lead. I don't think we haven't played a better half than the first half against Morningside, and we shot 70%. Our defense led to our offense. We were making threes and throwing lob dunks in transition. So unfortunately they went zone, and we kind of just stood there and looked at it and weren't able to make shots that we need to be able to make. But we definitely, I think, got better over that trip. But we're to the point where just playing with those teams isn't enough. We need to make the next step, and that's to beat some of those kind of national contender teams.
And you mentioned coming out on fire against Morningside and really playing well in the first half. Something I noticed that you guys had been doing during that 4-game win streak you had in KCAC play was that you were coming out and really jumping on teams early. Mm-hmm. And then those last couple of games against Tabor and Friends, it was really the opposite. You kind of ended up in a hole at the end of the first half, right, and then really looked like the better team in the second half, but couldn't quite climb all the way back out. Do you see something that's going on there, or is it just lack of focus? Or
I wish I did. I wish there was some magic formula. I think it's hard to get a group of guys on the same page every night. I think our guys play hard almost all the time. It's not usually we're not playing hard enough. I think it's are we focused on what our objectives are that night, and obviously a lot of times with the game plans will change. So it's not an easy thing for those guys to all be on the same page. And Friends is a very unique team, a lot of challenges, and Tabor is really good. And so, I think we were kind of we were a little too passive in those games, offensively and defensively. Well, we weren't forcing the issue where we need to. And the bottom line is if we'll focus on the defensive end, and offensively we'll move the ball and share the ball, we have a chance to be pretty good. And when we don't do those things, we worry about when our offense or lack thereof translates to our defense, then we're in trouble. But if we'll play defense first and then move the ball, then we're pretty good.
Yeah, and you bring up that Friends game and how they're kind of a unique team. And, in the first half, I don't remember the numbers, but it was just one of those days, at least to start with, where there just seemed like there was a lid on the basket. And then I believe they had a player who averages 2 points a game on the year, hit 6 3-pointers in that first half. And so
that was the right guy was taking the shots as far as we were concerned. That was our game plan, is to make the guy that's getting 2 points a game, make him beat us. And when he started beating us, then we tried to make an adjustment, and we didn't adjust how we needed to. But again, that game, I don't think we moved the ball very well. I think the ball stuck. We were easy to guard, and that translated to, because things weren't going well on one end, it translated to them not going well on the other. Again, we got to be a defensive first team and create some offense out of our defense. So.
Right, and it does seem to work that way, especially you can create offense with good defense, especially if you get runouts off of turnovers. You start to see a couple of layups go through the basket, a couple of dunks, and then all of a sudden that lid seems to come off the basket, and it just seems to open up the offense a little bit. And it did seem like that happened more in the second half. But, sometimes you just got to tip your hat, I guess, to the other team and say, hey, if that one guy's going to hit 6 threes in one half, there's not a whole lot you can do about it.
Definitely.
All right, so one other question just about how the team's been playing so far. That you look around the team, and I could probably name 5, 6, 7 guys who are more than respectable three-point shooters. Mm-hmm. It's not a bad three-point shooting team. You've even got a big guy in Logan Bollinger who can step out to the top of the key and make a three. But right now, just 29% on the season. Is that something that's psychological at this point, or is it just sometimes they go in, sometimes they don't? It'll even itself out in the end.
I don't think it's psychological. I think I hate to sound like a broken record. I think some of that is we're not very big, and so we shoot a lot of threes. Mm-hmm. But I also think a lot of it's our shot selection. I think we've taken tough threes at times rather than move the ball, play inside out, shoot kick out threes, shoot threes on quick reversals. So I think a little bit of that's us. But I have faith in a lot of our guys just to shoot the three, and I think our guys know are more and more understanding every day what a good shot is and what's not a good shot, and then who should be shooting what shots. I think they're figuring that out. I mean, but the funny thing is we're on some of our guys in particular every day they got to shoot the ball more. I mean, they got to catch and shoot the three more, and so I think if we'll just trust each other in that aspect, we'll be fine. So I didn't even know we were shooting at 29%. I don't actually look at three-point percentage that much. It's just a thing where we just got to make sure we're taking good shots, whether they're twos or threes or whatever they are. If we're taking good shots, we'll be okay.
Is there an ideal range for how many of your shots you'd like to see come from behind three-point range, or is it really just situation dependent?
Yeah, I think it's situational. I don't look at us as a team that shoots a ton of threes compared to a lot of our opponents. And we're unique that we do have our five-man, quote-unquote five-man at Logan Bolger, who is one of our best three-point shooters, and that's definitely a plus for us, so we can bring the other team's big up out of the basket and away from the basket, which opens up some driving lanes as well. There's not a time where I'm looking and saying we're shooting too many threes or not enough. It's just, again, are we shooting good shots within our offense, and that's kind of what I'm looking at mostly.
Right. All right, well, before we get to this week's opponents, if you had to look at how we're not quite at the halfway point, but how things are right now, being 4-4 through 8 games in KCAC play, how do you feel about how that first kind of segment of the season has gone? Yeah,
I feel pretty good about it. I think I think the disappointing stretch to me was Tabor and Friends, and not because of the results. I mean, I've told these guys, I can handle a loss if we play our best basketball and another team just beats us. I felt like in different ways we beat ourselves in those games, and not to take anything away from Friends or Tabor, they're really good basketball teams, but I don't feel like they got our best shot, and that's what I'm probably the most disappointed in. Going on the road and winning at Kansas Wesleyan, winning at Oklahoma Wesleyan, going on the road and winning at Sterling in the middle of finals. Those are to go on the road and win in our league is tough no matter who you're playing. So I'm very proud of that. Obviously enjoyed the little 4-game winning streak we had, and just anxious to get back after it and get back into games that matter for us.
And it does seem like the first part of the season's been a little road heavy, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I'm not smart enough to figure out the matrix of how our schedule works. I just know we have a lot of home Wednesday or Thursday games and not a lot of home Saturday games.
Right.
So it's been an interesting dynamic, and we've been on the road quite a bit. But the bottom line is you're going to have to win in our league. You're going to have to go on the road and beat a good team. That's how you're going to win in our league. So hopefully we can go do that when we get a chance to get back after it.
All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about maybe some of the opponents they have this week and what's lined up for the rest of KCAC play. So we'll take a quick break, and then we'll be back with more of Hoop Talk here on KOFO, live from Pizza Time in downtown Ottawa.
Family physicians, their physicians and nurse practitioner provide a variety of comprehensive health care services, including family medicine, OBGYN, pediatric, and geriatric care. Doctors Ransom, Spratt, Gollier, Sinclair, Ogilvy, Nichols, and Simmons offer their services 8 to 5 Monday through Friday and Saturdays from 8:30 to noon. For your health care needs, call Ottawa Family Physicians at 785-242-1620. Pizza Time in downtown Ottawa has been Ottawa's pizza joint since 1985. Enjoy their lunch buffet Monday through Friday from 11 to 2. Dine in or carry out your order. Call 242-TIME. That's 242-8463. It's always time for pizza at Pizza Time.
Confidence, passion, skill, knowledge. At Ottawa University, I've gained the strength to discover who I am and the confidence to be myself. I've met people from around the globe from different backgrounds and cultures, with opportunities to get involved and bring our passions to life with more than 30 clubs and organizations. We all come together into a faith-inspired community that quickly becomes family. I invite you to be brave like me at Ottawa University. Find out more at ottawa.edu today.
There are two kinds of people in this world, the haves and the have-dones. The haves enjoy social climbing, 60-foot yachts, and high tea. The have-dones enjoy rock climbing, 60-minute massages, and lo mein. Looking for fun things to do? Think Groupon. Need a massage? Think Groupon. Find a new restaurant? Download the Groupon app and use code WELCOME and get $10 off your first Groupon deal of $25 or more. Restrictions apply. See Groupon.com/radio for details. Because if you're going to own something, own the experience. Groupon.
All right, welcome back to Hoops Talk on KOFO, usually 1220 and 103.7 FM. Today, 103.7 is giving us some issues. Hopefully we'll try and get that back online tomorrow, but it is on live on 1220, of course, as you're probably aware if you're listening right now. Once again, we're here with Coach Aaron Siebenthal of the men's team for the OU Braves, and we've talked a little about how the season's gone up to this point, and one thing I did want to ask back when we were talking about the trip up to Sioux City, how does the women's team end up going to Las Vegas and you guys end up in Sioux City, Iowa?
Poor scheduling on the head coach's fault. No, we've taken, when I was the assistant coach, we've taken some nice trips. We went to San Diego, Las Vegas, Hawaii twice. But all that money is raised independently outside of our program with fundraising, and it's a lot of work. And I just feel like our guys maybe do a little less fundraising and have some nicer gear and that kind of stuff. We kind of spend our money on how we travel and how we look and what we eat rather than going on trips. But I'm sure the weather was a little nicer in Las Vegas and than it was in Sioux City, but and so, a lot of times those are good trips, but you also don't know what you're going to get as far as competition, as far as facilities, that kind of thing. So I'll take my 4.5-hour drive north rather than getting on a plane and doing all that. But it's a neat experience for those guys and for those girls to experience. But for us, we'd rather kind of stay local and kind of control our own fate of where we're going.
Right. And you mentioned what you eat. Now, if I heard correctly, when you guys go down to Wichita to play Friends, you have a player's whose parents' house you go have a pregame feast at. Is that right?
Yeah, that's coming to an end because that's Logan Bollinger's house, and his parents they have they catered in some pasta, and it's really, really good. And it's the second year we've done it, and so unless we go play at Friends in the conference tournament, that's probably coming to an end. But it was a good run while it lasted, and it's better than our typical Subway pregame. So very fortunate to have the Bollingers take care of us like that, and very appreciative of that opportunity.
All right, now switching gears. So tomorrow's opponent is St. Mary, and you guys went 0-2 against them last year, but this year you're both coming into this game 4-4. And, you're playing back at home in Wilson Fieldhouse, so it's an opportunity to get 2017 started out, the way you want to. And St. Mary, they're a potent offensive team. I know you mentioned you don't really look at the shooting stats much. They are the top 3-point shooting team in the conference right now. But aside from what's on paper, what can you tell us about the Spires, how things have gone for them, and what you expect to see from them tomorrow night?
Sure. Well, I mean, us and St. Mary are kind of partners out here on this side of the world compared to the rest of the league. So really good friends with their coach, Troy Brown. They do a really good job offensively. I mean, everybody on their team can shoot the three. They obviously feature Grant Greenberg, who's getting 29 a game, going to be darn near close to a 4,000-point scorer in his college career if he doesn't get to it. So Grant's a really good player. Those guys know their roles. Defensively, they're not super big, but they switch a lot of screens. So there'll be some matchup issues that they'll have with our guys, but they're well coached. They're a good team. They can get hot really fast, and so we got to kind of temper the storm there, and hopefully we can just play better defense and win the rebounding battle.
So when you play a team like that does switch on their screens, does that create even more of an advantage in having a big guy like Logan Bollinger who can step out to the top of the key and knock down a three on a smaller player?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he can do that, and he can post them up. And so we talked about in practice, the key is you can't get so worried about trying to throw the ball inside to Logan when he's got a guard on him that we stop doing what we do offensively. And so that's what I think a lot of teams do is they see a 5'9" guy guarding a 6'5", 6'6" guy, and that's all they focus on rather than move the ball and get the ball inside when the chance arrives, not force it in there. So St. Mary will play fast, and I mean the ball's going to be in Greenberg's hands a lot. He can score a lot of ways. He's really good at getting to the free throw line. And so we've got to do a good job of guarding him as a team, guard him without fouling, and then try and be the best rebounding team. Those are our top keys.
And that was someone I was going to ask you about with Greenberg. You mentioned he's scoring about 29 points a game, leads the team in rebounds and steals. What's the approach when you're playing a team with a specific player like that, not to take anything away from their other guys, but when they clearly have a standout player? Do you adjust the game plan to try and slow him down specifically, or do you stay with what you want to do and just make sure the players are aware of what his tendencies are and what he's going to try and do?
Yeah, we want to stick to what we do, what our base stuff is. For the most part, anytime you play somebody that's a really good scorer, especially if they're a high volume shooter, I mean, Grant's a good player and he's shooting a good percentage, but he shoots the ball a lot too, and rightfully so. He should. But so for us, we want to make him make tough shots. We don't want to have him get any easy looks. So we don't want to lose him where nobody's guarding him. We don't want to give him a run out in transition, and we definitely don't want to foul him when he's shooting and get him to the free throw line, because that's how he's going to get himself going. So if he gets 30 points, that's fine. If he does it on 20 or 25 shots. If he gets 13 points on 7 or 8 shots and he goes to the free throw line a ton, then it's been an easy night for him. So we just got to make it a tough night for him, and we're not going to try and shut him out or anything like that. But we've typically done a fairly nice job on him. It's just any coach will tell you you want to guard a guy like that as a team, and they're hard to guard as a team because you can't come off any of their other players really, because they can all shoot the three so well. So kudos to them for putting good shooters around Grant so you can't help off. But we've still got to figure out a way to guard as a team, and that's the number one priority.
Yeah. And you mentioned the free throws, and I was looking through some of his box scores, and he's had games where he's gone 15 of 16 from the free throw line. He gets there a ton. In fact, I believe it's 174 free throws that he's shot on the season. Is he, in terms of what to expect from, does he earn those by being more of a slasher, gets to the basket, gets fouled that way, or?
Yeah, he's really good about drawing contact and creating contact without it being him pushing off or anything like that. So he's just a really smart player. I mean, he's skilled, but he's also really smart. So I mean, he knows when a team's in the bonus. He knows kind of the flow of the game, and he's going to look for bodies to run into, and he's demonstrative enough that he's going to draw attention and get fouls. And he's definitely not flopping or anything by any means, but he's going to make sure everybody knows he thinks he got fouled. And when you're a good player like that and you score a lot, you kind of bring that reputation with you. And I think a lot of times the better players get the benefit of calls, and you just hope that evens out with your better players.
So just in terms of mechanics, when you've got a guy who's going to come barreling into the lane looking for contact, who's adept at doing it, how do you, specifically your players who are going to be down low near the basket, what do you coach them to do to try and still contest the shot, but without allowing him to draw that contact?
Yeah, we have to bring help as soon as possible. If he's going to get to the free throw line if the help comes late, and so if the help is underneath the basket, if it's in that restricted circle, it's going to be a foul every time, and so that help's got to come outside the lane, and then you just got to wall up, and again it goes back to making him make tough shots. So you're not trying to block his shot, you're just trying to be as tall as you can be, as straight up as you can be, and force him to shoot it over you. If he makes it, he makes it, but we can't try and block his shot as he's shooting a layup and give him an and one and get him going to the free throw line.
Right. And so after St. Mary on Saturday, you're on the road against McPherson. Now, McPherson's struggling. They're 1-7 in conference play right now, but they've done well in their non-conference games, and everybody's non-conference schedule varies so much it can be hard to tell what to read into that. What do you feel has been causing them problems so far in KCAC play?
Well, almost all their games have been close, and they do play a good non-conference schedule, so they've played a tough schedule and they've won those games. I think in the KCAC, they just, they've been right there in every game. They just can't get over the hump. Sometimes that kind of stuff just snowballs on teams. They kind of feel like they're snake bitten. But Coach Schwarzenegger does a great job. I mean, he's had probably the best team in the KCAC in a long team a few years ago. He knows what he's doing. And those guys play hard, and they've got some size. They're a good team. So, there are there are not any easy games in this conference at all, and it's not coach speak or anything. That probably wasn't true 3 or 4 years ago. I'll be honest with you, but there are no easy games in our league, especially on the road. So I'm sure they're going to be ready for us, and it'll be a good challenge. And we just got to, if we can get a win tomorrow night, then we'll worry about Saturday on Friday. It's kind of the tough part about our Thursday, Saturday stuff is you really got to focus just on the Thursday game and then be ready to bounce back real quick Friday and kind of walk through what your opponent on Saturday is going to do and worry about them on Friday. But it's a grind in our league with the Thursday, Saturday, and then we got 7 weeks of it. So. I think we'll be ready when we come out Thursday and Saturday.
All right, and you mentioned McPherson having more size and obviously just stylistically a very different team from St. Mary. And you kind of touched on this a little bit with having to walk through what they're going to do with your Friday practice. Do you get any, or do you try and devote any time during the week, especially when you have two teams who play so differently, to scouting that Saturday team, or are you just sort of stuck devoting most of your time to the Thursday game and hoping that you can make the adjustments for Saturday?
Our coaching staff definitely spends time on both games throughout the week. And so we already have started looking at film and everything on McPherson for Saturday. But we, as a team on the court, we very rarely will worry about Saturday's game until Friday. Unless we just, there happens to be things that both teams do, we'll probably cover that. But we typically got to try and focus on what the Thursday game first. And it's a good thing about our league is you've seen everybody so many times and you have film on everybody that, you can pretty easily put a game plan together and be ready to go on Saturday. So typically the coaching staff is moved ahead a game, but the players have not. So.
Right. And speaking of the players, obviously they know where everybody is in the standings, how everyone's doing.
They see it every day when they walk in our locker room. We have a standings board right when they walk in, so they know exactly where we are. Yeah.
Okay. So is there ever any concern about, when they see that 1-7 or 1-8, whatever McPherson's record is going to be on Saturday, is there ever any concern about that? Not that they would ever not put as much effort into it, but just that they don't feel like they have to worry about it quite as much, dude.
Yeah, I mean, if we didn't have a records board, they'd be on Twitter and everything else, and they'd already know, their standings and their stats. Those guys know all that stuff already. So I don't think, I'm not worried about that because if you look in our league, our guys have seen the scores and know that they've been competitive in every game. But you look at Sterling, who's towards the bottom of our league right now, and they knocked off St. Mary, and scored 100 points on St. Mary. So it's definitely true in our league right now that anybody can beat anybody. I think the league is wide open. I think obviously Tabor and Bethany and York a little bit have kind of pulled away from the pack just a little bit. But, you look at a team like St. Mary who was ranked in the top 25 at some point this year, and they're have the same record we do. So I think conference play is just a completely different animal, and I don't see us as a team that's going to overlook anybody because we're 6-9. We don't we're 4-4 in conference. We don't if we were 8-0 or 7-1, then that might be an issue. But I think we know where we are and where we need to be, and I think our guys come in pretty focused regardless of who our opponent is.
All right. And with the two different styles of teams, you'll be playing with the faster team that's more. They like to shoot a little more in St. Mary, and then a little more slower paced team and a bigger team in McPherson. Throwing records out, throwing individual quality of players out. Which one of those styles do you feel like this Braves team is more suited to go up?
Well,
against?
I think playing against bigger teams is probably an advantage for us, simply because we can bring Logan out on the perimeter, and he can. It's hard for a bigger, true 5 men that are 6'8" or 6'9" to guard Logan, because one, he can post him up, but he can also take him out on the perimeter, and generally they got to give him more space, and he can make the three. So, and I think we can run on McPherson a little bit, where St. Mary, we can run on them, but they're going to come right back at us. So, I think we match up better probably against McPherson. But I think our guys, if you'd asked our guys right now which game they'd rather win, they'd all unanimously say St. Mary. That's kind of a rival for us, and they've kind of had our number lately, so we are definitely wanting to win that game for sure.
And you bring up that it's developed into a bit of a rivalry. Obviously, OU has the long-standing rivalry with Baker. Is there another team in the KCAC that right now that the players, you mentioned St. Mary, are there any other teams that they seem to get especially up for, motivated?
Yeah, Tabor probably, just because that's who, the guys that are playing for us now, that's who they've seen win the league. Saw them run the table in the conference. So, and then probably Friends next with since we played Friends 3 times and they ended our season last year. So I would say St. Mary is a friendly rivalry. Like I said, we're kind of on the same end of the earth here together. And,
right.
But then Tabor's been the perennial powerhouse in our league, and then Friends is kind of who we seem to get matched up with quite a bit in postseason play. So I'd say those 3 teams are probably the teams that we kind of look at the schedule and kind of earmark those as games we really look forward to.
All right, well, we'll go ahead and take another break. Again, you're listening to Hoop Talk here at Pizza Time in downtown Ottawa. You still have time to, if you want to call in a question, you can also send us questions on Twitter or Facebook if you have any questions for Coach Siebenthal about the OU team this year. We'll be right back, and maybe we'll get a chance to talk to a couple of players here before the hour's over. Again, you're listening to Hoop Talk on KOFO 1220 and 103.7 FM.
Time in downtown Ottawa has been Ottawa's Pizza Joint since 1985. Enjoy their lunch buffet Monday through Friday from 11 to 2. Dine in or carry out your order. Call 242-TIME. That's 242-8463. It's always time for pizza at Pizza Time.
Lamb Roberts Funeral Director Eric Price.
I think that there are a lot of misconceptions about cremation services for America today. A lot of people think that it's only a good alternative if money is an issue. Cremation in the end is a disposition. It's not a service. The funeral service that we're going to provide, whether you're traditional services or cremation services, is going to be essentially the same.
Lamb Roberts Funeral Home. Compassionate care when you need it most.
Katie, where's your Jergens?
My lotion? Here in the shower where it belongs.
Wait, in the shower?
Yeah, Mom. I use Wet Skin Moisturizer from Jergens. It instantly locks in moisture from my shower, so my skin stays soft and luminous all day without that sticky lotion feel.
Moisture without that heavy feel? Can I borrow your Jergens Wet Skin Moisturizer?
And who said Mom always knows best?
You're more than just a pretty face. Jergens.
Taco Bell finds startling data in new polls. 100% of parents need nap time more than their kids. Country singers prefer large belt buckles. And shockingly, Americans want breakfast with bacon versus no bacon. No kidding. Taco Bell's new $1 morning value menu with stuff like grilled breakfast burritos with fluffy eggs. And yes, crispy bacon rolled in a warm tortilla for just $1. It's the only $1 breakfast value menu that brings home the bacon. At participating locations, prices and items may vary. Tax extra. Bacon available in grilled breakfast burrito and breakfast taco.
Pizza Time in downtown Ottawa has been Ottawa's Pizza Joint since 1985. Enjoy their lunch buffet Monday through Friday from 11 to 2. Dine in or carry out your order. Call 242-TIME. That's 242-8463. It's always time for pizza at Pizza Time.
And welcome back to Hoop Talk here on KOFO. We're live at Pizza Time in downtown Ottawa. You still got about 20 minutes to come down and join us. The whole men's team here is here for OU Braves basketball. And, of course, we're talking with Coach Aaron Siebenthal. And I understand that the players put on a clinic for some local youth basketball players yesterday.
Yeah, we hosted a clinic. It was free, kind of a back to school. We had it on the last day of winter break, and just one of the many things we'd like to do to try and give back to the community. So I think we had 26 boys and girls show up. We did 3rd through 6th grade, and so we asked for a canned food donation or a cash donation for Hope House. So I think we raised about $120 and had a nice full box of canned goods that we're going to deliver to Hope House on Friday. So it was a men's and women's team combined to do that, and so we had all of our players and all the women's players helped out with it. And it's something we'd like to kind of continue to do more and more of in the community. We also do a Meals on Wheels route every Thursday, so we'll continue to do that. And we've been to a few different elementary schools and read to some classes and just little things like that we hope will get some more people to our games. But if nothing else, it just gets us out in the community and lets us see how we can impact the people in our town.
Yeah, and that's great to see the guys getting involved in the community, and obviously it's good from the program's perspective, but also just to kind of get them used to getting out there and getting involved and working with kids. When they do work with kids in terms of basketball, what would you say are the most basic mechanics that's important for kids to work on when they're learning the game?
Well, probably, I've done a lot of youth camps in my 20-some years of being involved with basketball as a profession, and I'll tell you the biggest thing I would say is kids need to shoot close shots on a right-sized goal with the right-sized ball. I think the three-point line has ruined a lot of people's shots at a young age because you can't shoot the ball with the correct form when you're 10 years old from 20 feet away on a 10-foot basket. And so to get it there, you got to figure out another way to get it there, and that carries over to their form later in life. So I would say that's the biggest thing is just shoot shots you can make with the correct form, with the right size ball and the right size goal.
Yeah, not to get too far off topic, but I've coached a couple of youth teams where right around 9-10 years old, they start to get that from the hip shot where they bend their knees down as far as they can just to try and hit threes, and it's not pretty.
Right. Or youth basketball games where they're in a elementary school gym with no three-point line, and they ask if it's still worth three, that kind of thing, because they want to jack threes. So that's definitely something, but it's also something that gives us something to do as coaches is try and help some guys and fix their shooting form.
So just philosophically, with the analytics revolution going on in basketball, I know with it being worth that extra point, a lot of statistically, they've determined that a lot of teams aren't shooting enough threes.
Right.
But then there's some pushback against that teams are going too far the other direction and shooting half their shots from three-point range. I know we kind of talked about it early on where you don't have a specific number of threes that you want the team to shoot, but where do you fall in that in terms of three-point shooting?
I like shots that go in, so whether they're worth two or three, I like the ones that go in. Mike Douglas, who's our director of basketball operations, one stat he tracks for me is field goal efficiency, and basically you get a your three-point percentage is worth 1.5 times what your two-point percentage is, or your two-point attempts are. And so basically if you shoot a lower percentage from two but a higher percentage from three, you're still efficient. And so we track that number as well. And so we're looking for somebody that's efficient overall. And so if you're not a three-point shooter, the way to be efficient is to not shoot threes and to make your twos. But if you are a three-point shooter, then you need to shoot it at a good clip and you need to make your twos. So it's not rocket science, but it lets us put an actual number. We kind of talk about the analytics, so let us put a number. And then we use a program called Synergy for our film exchange, and they break down every single play we have, and it'll rate our team and our players on pretty much any category you can think of, from poor to excellent. And so it's kind of interesting, and it's kind of helped us with some guys and say, well, this is what the numbers say you do on pick and roll offense or kick out threes. Or how the team does in those concepts. And so for some of these guys, it's good for us to be able to have some numbers to back up what we're telling them as coaches, because not to sound like too old of a person, but kids these days want to know the why behind everything. It's not just because their coach is telling them. So if I'm telling them not to shoot a three on the first pass to start the offense, they want to know why. And I can say, well, the analytics we've played 15 games, the analytics say that we're not very good. We're actually poor when it comes to first shot threes on the right side or whatever it may be. So it's good to have that software program back us up, and it's been a game changer for us and probably for our conference. So.
All right, so we wandered into a topic of interest for me because I am a data analyst. So let me get your opinion on this, something that drives me crazy personally. What are your thoughts on 19-foot two-point jumpers?
Where's Cam Lindsey? That's a great question for Cam Lindsey. He is the king of the worst shot in basketball. He always has his foot on the line. So, but if it goes in, it's still a made basket. But no, you need to know where your feet are and what you're doing. I mean, there's no reason not to have be aware of where you're at. So. Yeah, it doesn't drive me probably as crazy as it might drive you, but it's also not a great play either. So,
and do you try and get the shot chart as close to that, where you get as many of the dots concentrated around the basket and then around the perimeter as possible, or do you spread it out with more mid-range jumpers?
No, I think we have a lot of guys that are good at mid-range, and we work on the mid-range a lot. I think you hear a lot of people say it's a lost art. We work on the catch on a three-point line, ball fake to close out, and work on the pull-up jumper. So we definitely want to shoot that. I'm not as much interested in the shot chart as where they're shooting from as when they're shooting it. Are we getting the ball into the paint and around the basket early in the game? And that doesn't have to be a post up. I want we can attack the paint and then kick it out. We can throw it in the post, but I'm more interested is, are we being the aggressor and are we trying to get the ball to the rim? And then when that's stopped, do we kick it out, or are we settling for threes early and often? And so, it's sometimes it's hard for our guys to understand that even a wide open look is a bad shot if it doesn't go in 5 or 6 times in a row. It's the turnover then. And so for them to understand that a good shot is one that it's in the flow of our offense, it's what we want, but it's got to go in once in a while. So
right. All right, well, we're going to take one more break, and then we'll be back to talk with the team captains, Logan Bollinger and Hollis Mitchell, here on Hoop Talk. Again, we're in downtown Ottawa at Pizza Time. You still got about 12, 13 more minutes. Well, they'll be open later than that, but if you want to catch us, we've got about 15 more minutes to come enjoy some pizza and some basketball talk. And once again, thanks for coming on, Coach, and we'll talk to you again next week, and hopefully with a 6-4 record.
All right, thanks, David. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks. We'll be right back. You're listening to Hoop Talk on KOFO.
Pizza Time in downtown Ottawa has been Ottawa's pizza joint since 1985. Enjoy their lunch buffet Monday through Friday from 11 to 2. Dine in or carry out your order. Call 242-TIME. That's 242-8463. It's always time for pizza at Pizza Time.
Confidence, passion, skill, knowledge. At Ottawa University, I've gained the strength to discover who I am and the confidence to be myself. I've met people from around the globe from different backgrounds and cultures, with opportunities to get involved and bring our passions to life with more than 30 clubs and organizations. We all come together into a faith-inspired community that quickly becomes family. I invite you to be brave like me at Ottawa University. Find out more at ottawa.edu today.
At Ottawa Family Physicians, their physicians and nurse practitioner provide a variety of comprehensive healthcare services, including family medicine, OBGYN, pediatric, and geriatric care. Doctors Ransom, Spratt, Gollier, Sinclair, Ogilvy, Nichols, and Simmons offer their services 8 to 5 Monday through Friday and Saturdays from 8:30 to noon. For your healthcare needs, call Ottawa Family Physicians at 785-242-1620.
This just in, Wendy's is adding the quarter-pound double stack as an option in the 4 for $4 for a limited time. With so much beef, that's a deal so good it should not exist. In related news, howler monkeys should not be able to be heard from 3 miles away. Here to comment, a howler monkey.
Wow! That sounds like a really good deal!
Indeed. That's over a quarter pound of fresh beef with 4 nuggets, fries, and a Coke, all for just $4. Anything else, howler monkey?
I'm not allowed in libraries!
At participating Wendy's for a limited time, meal includes 4-piece nuggets, small fries, and drink. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada. Not valid in Alaska and Hawaii.
All right, welcome back to Hoop Talk, live from Pizza Time down here in downtown Ottawa. And again, you still got about 10 more minutes. The whole OU Braves basketball team is here. If you'd like to see the team and enjoy some pizza, we'll be here for about 10 more minutes. And I'm joined now by the 2 team captains, Logan Bollinger and Hollis Mitchell. Logan's a senior, Hollis Mitchell's a junior, and both been key components of the team so far this year. Thanks for being on, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. So, Logan, I'll start with you, and I talked about this just briefly with Coach earlier, but I understand you've got kind of a team tradition when you go down to Wichita to play Friends University, where the team goes to your parents' house for dinner. Is that right?
Yeah, that is correct.
So how did that tradition get started?
I'm not really sure. I think just last year my parents just, hit up Coach Steve and, asked him if he wanted to eat at our house, We like to do some things like that. So it just happened again this year. I don't know.
What do they serve?
I'm not even sure where it's from, but it's some Italian place in Wichita. I mean, that's the only time I've ever had it is when we've had the team meals, but I think we should get it more often.
I agree.
Right. Any issues with overeating right before the game?
We might have this year. We got off to quite a slow start, but last year we actually got the win there, so who knows? Yeah.
I'll give you guys the chance to talk about your teammates where they can't respond. Who puts down the most food when you eat team meals?
Jacob, I think.
It's a toss-up.
Yeah.
Jacob or Cameron Lindsay.
All right, so if you guys could talk a little about what it means to be the captains on the team, and what kind of role you feel like that gives you, and you guys can kind of trade off here if you want.
For me, it's a big change because my freshman year I hardly played, so then coming into my sophomore year, I didn't really have any experience, but I started every game, and it wasn't my team. It wasn't no one really looked up to me, but I just kind of played my role. And then now as a junior, like a lot of guys look up to me. I feel like I'm the one that everybody's watching, so I got to bring it every day and set the tone for our team.
Yeah, it's one of those things, you just want to make sure you're always doing the right thing, just lead by example is one of the big things I try and do, and then also just making sure you guys are ready to play. It's another big thing.
All right, and so you guys kind of have polar opposite roles on the team as far as Hollis, you being the starting point guard, and then you're the center. I don't know if that's what your team uses as terminology or not. So I guess Logan, I'll start with you. Obviously you can step out to the top of the key and take a 3-pointer if you need to. You can go down low, and we've seen you've got some post moves you can use, and you play defense down there as well. Do you see yourself more as a post player or as more of a versatile player who can really just do whatever you're asked?
I definitely see myself more as a post player than a post player can shoot rather than trying to play like the stretch four as the term most people use.
Right.
Just because I'm basically played a post for as long as I can remember, being one of the taller guys. So I honestly couldn't shoot a while ago. It's something I worked on. So, and then I've gotten better, and so that's kind of how I view myself.
Were you always the tall kid growing up on the team?
Throughout high school, yeah. Like my 8th grade, I was like 5'8", and then my freshman year of high school, I was like 6'3". So that's when it really kind of I had a growth spurt there. And
must be nice.
When did you hit 6'3", Hollis?
It still hasn't happened.
So as the team's point guard, obviously you get everything initiated, and you're playing. The defense starts with you at the top of the key as well. Do you see yourself? But we've seen that you can shoot the ball, you can score. How do you see your role on the team? Is it primarily as a distributor, or is it, or you're just kind of whatever you're being asked to do against the defense at that point?
I just feel like my job is to set the tone for our team. So, and then as far as the game goes, if I need to score, then I try to score. If I need to get somebody that's hot at the ball, then I try to do that. And if I need to pick it up on defense, then that's what I do. I try to do whatever it takes for our team to be successful.
All right, and you're leading the team in steals, and as someone who I think finished his high school career with about 5 career steals, what is there a technique that you use to jump into the passing lanes? Is it just quick hands, or is it something you've taught yourself over the years, or have you always just been good at kind of reading where the opponent's going to go with it?
I think it has something to do with IQ. I just try to put myself in the right position to break on the ball, or for the most part, it's just getting steals is easy ways to score.
Right.
I don't have to go in there with all the tall people. I can just get easy runouts for layups. So
I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit here. As a point guard, would you rather get an assist or a basket?
It depends how the game's going. But either way, I don't really mind. Either one is fine.
All right. So since I've got you guys here, maybe you'd give a different answer on some of these things than Coach would. If you guys had to pick out who's the best pure jump shooter on the team, who would you least want to play a game of horse against?
Does this mean nobody's in the gym or there's a crowd?
Yeah, nobody's in the gym. It's just who can shoot it.
I have to go with Tag.
I think I agree.
Right.
I think he's the guy that's the pure shooter.
Do you guys ever play horse, or is that once you get to college, or your horse day is over?
Yeah, I haven't played a game of horse in a while.
Well, that actually reminds me. While you guys were enjoying a nice meal at Logan's parents' house, do you know what the women's team was doing in the gym at Friends? They were playing knockout.
Oh, okay.
When was the last time you guys played a team game of knockout?
Maybe a month ago.
Oh, really?
Practice.
So they actually have you guys play knockout.
We don't do it often, but I do remember us doing it about a month ago.
Okay, because I couldn't remember the last time I played a game of knockout. I think it was gym in elementary school, so I was kind of surprised. But so do the coaches have you do that as kind of almost as a training exercise, or is it just more for fun?
I think it was kind of fun, something to do toward the end of practice. But it turned out pretty well, except I lost.
Who on the team is the most willing to be that guy who, instead of shooting the ball, just tosses it up to knock the other guy's ball away so he can get the easy layup?
Eric Stark.
Eric Stark, he's that guy? Oh, he's looking over here.
Yeah, stare down now.
Yeah. So if he's got the opportunity, he'd rather knock the ball away than go for his own shot. All right, good to know. Well, I don't remember which game it was, but I remember him being in the middle of a kind of a bit of a, we won't call it a fight, just a little scuffle on the a few weeks ago.
You can always count on him for that.
All right, so we've got about 1 minute left here. So just looking forward toward the rest of the season. Are there any specific goals that you guys have that you want to meet, other than obviously trying to you want to win every game, you want to try and win the conference, but is there anything? Are there any other smaller goals that you guys have, either individually or for the team?
One thing for me is just never waste an opportunity. I think Coach said today we have 14 games left. That's basically all I've got until we get to the conference tournament. So, I just don't want to, waste any opportunities that we have.
All right. Hollis?
I try to keep the mindset that I don't have next year. I try to keep myself in this year, play this whole year out like it's my last. So I hope for our team that we playing our best basketball eventually, before it's too late. So.
All right, and then you guys are playing St. Mary tomorrow. Is that I know I think you guys lost both the games to St. Mary last year. Is there a little extra motivation to try and get them, especially on your home court tomorrow?
For me, it is. Since I've been here, I haven't beat St. Mary's at all.
Okay.
I haven't beat them in a JV game, a varsity game. I want this win.
All right. So a little extra fire, a little extra motivation for tomorrow night. All right, well, that's all the time we've got. I want to thank, obviously, Coach Stephenthal and then the two team captains, Logan Bullinger and Hollis Mitchell, for joining us here tonight. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
All right. Yep, and be sure to tune in again next week on Wednesday for another edition of Hoop Talk. We'll have Coach Bruce Tate to talk about the women's team on as well next week. He wasn't able to make it here tonight, but we'll look forward to talking with you again next
Information
Wednesday.
and entertainment in
Pizza
East
Time
Central
on
Kansas.
KOFO.
KOFO K279CS Ottawa.